So a little bit more about the collaboratives here. We'll tie this up. So the questions that we asked of the priests and we're asking ourselves is, as we transition, and that's really, the collaboratives are now established. How do we transition to make this work for the next 5-10 years till we get our numbers back up? Okay? So if you think about it, a pastor who's got one parish and a school, and he's got one parish council and one finance council, he's got it going, but now he's got 2 more. What's that mean? How is he going to be a priest for all those 3 places? How is he going to be present to them as equally as possible, not just at the big one? And how is that going to work? It's going to take some help from you to do that, okay? But the priests really do want to continue to be spiritual fathers to provide everything we can for you in this interim period. To promote our diocesan identity, as we talked about earlier, but retaining that parish uniqueness and the good stuff going on there, the collaboration for pastoral care, schools, new evangelization, catechesis, clergy support and resources, greater opportunities for deacons and lay ministries, and also better use of the priest's gifts. Where is he a good specialist if he's got those special gifts that the Lord has given? So when we look at active participation in the parish, in preparing these new collaboratives, we've been working with the Catholic Leadership Institute, which comes out of Philadelphia. They've helped various dioceses to make such arrangements, some of them on a much more permanent basis. As Bishop said, we're not closing, we're not merging, we're not clustering, we're not doing any of that stuff. It's a collaborative. We're working together as parishes under one pastor for such time. Yes.
That's probably unique here in the United States. I mean, it's because that's what you've usually heard. Dioceses, they're closing parishes, merging, well, all those different words. We have such a unique plan here.
Yeah. And as quickly as we have coupled them together, we can uncouple them. That's the neat part about it. It's very flexible. We've asked them to help us do some things, professional training. We've got to, we as priests know that it's not going to be all that easy. There'll be some new challenges that arise, but also we have to be very gentle on how we do this. We can't just go barreling in and say, well, by divine edict, we're doing it this way now. No. What we want to do is say, okay, what do you folks think? What's going to work best here? How do we protect? You have this parish festival over here, and they've got this going on here. How can we work this together for the time being and be good examples and witnesses to one another and really build up the kingdom of God here? That's what it's all about. So we're going to go through training. The staff's going through training. We're trying to think of everything we possibly can to iron out those wrinkles as they come about. Education and catechesis, just like the bishop talked tonight, a greater understanding of the church, a greater understanding of the office of bishop, those things, and why we're doing this. We're pulling back to charge ahead. That's kind of the way that we're looking at it. So we want to make sure everybody understands as best as possible how that works in a life of faith. Transition preparation. With CLI, we're trying to get the best practices, the things that worked and the things that didn't work, in dioceses kind of our size and with similar makeup and stuff. Yeah, there's no reason why we can't learn from that. And then specific tasking. In the second phase of implementation, one of the first things we're going to ask of the collaboratives and of the parishioners is to say, okay, here are the mass schedules. What would you come up with? Here are the rules that the priests have to follow. What would you propose as a workable mass schedule for the 2 or 3 sites in the collaborative? How could that work? Because you know what? You're the ones who got to get your kids there. You got CCD here. You got this going on. How does that work locally? If I'm coming in Zoom, I may not know that. So we want that involvement, and really, don't be afraid to offer ideas, to say, hey, I'd like to be involved in this, to be a part of it, because we're all ears. And it is an exciting adventure, and it's an exciting prospect. And I think we can make it work. So those specific tasks of not just Sunday masses, but weddings, funerals, those other things that go on. How are we going to do all that? How's First Communion going to work this year? Might we, when the bishop turns 80 and the Holy Father still hasn't accepted his resignation because he's so young-looking and vibrant. Might we gather a couple of the mission parishes together for confirmation? You know, could that happen? Yeah, we can, and that's what gives us those that flexibility. So, what we're looking for, what are the absolutely necessary components of the transition? What do we need to really be sure happens? One's communication, we know that. And it's got to be constant and both ways. You got to let us know too if things aren't working out. What help can be offered? The diocesan level, the local level, the neighborhood level, to work out the wrinkles to the upcoming changes. What are the key things that need to be consistently and constantly communicated? Like, we're not closing your parish. You know, that's a good thing to keep going. And if you hear in the parish here, the parishes here where you belong, if you hear people saying that stuff, say, no, well, I heard from the bishop himself that's not happening. Okay, straighten those things out, because we know how, you know, sometimes the facts, we don't want those to get in the way. And then finally, getting those mass liturgical schedules put together. Yeah, okay, and this is supposed to go now. Here we go. Come on. Oh, helps to hit the right button too. Okay, and if there are other considerations, you know, please let us know, send an email, whatever you want. Anything that we can do to help make this a great, easy, smooth transition, we're all for it. So, our timeline, and I haven't modified this on purpose now as a matter of pride at this point, and you'll notice why in a minute. These are just kind of the benchmarks for the next 2 months for transitioning into the new assignments and receiving whoever the new pastors are going to be for these different collaboratives. By February 15th, we want to identify within each of the parishes a group of people that are going to be kind of the transition team. They're going to be in contact with the diocese, help communicating with us as to what's going on, but we'll be providing resources and factual stuff and, you know, ways to, if there are bumps in the road, can we facilitate the, you know, this group wants to do this wants to do this, but they want to do it at the same time. Okay, well, something's got to give. But, you know, we'll try to have as much of that available to you and let us know too. But by February 15th, we want those teams identified. By the end of this next month, we'd like a proposal or 2 or 3 of schedules and things, and there's a whole worksheet that we got worked up for you of things that we need you to do to provide that input and that participation and schedules that would work, okay, without killing the priest. All right? Now, February 30th is a special day in my world. And I've been given enough razz about that lately, I'm leaving it there, just to drive people crazy. Okay? So, that's my birthday, February 30th, yeah. Okay? By March 15th then, we want to get those proposals to the bishop for a look-see, to be sure. We're looking at all the details. Are they going to work, or do we need to send them back for some revision? Once he's okay with them, then we give them to the parish at large to say, okay, take a look, folks. This is what we've proposed. This is what's been approved. Can we live with this? Can we work with it to welcome our new pastors and priests? Okay, and then finally by March 30th, those things will be in place. Okay, but that's going to be mostly you're doing. We'll help facilitate, but mostly you're doing, because you live there, and we're concerned most about you.